All right, recording number 6 of 7. We're getting there. So, again, what are we talking about? We're talking about cardiorespiratory endurance training and how it results in an increase in VO2max. Okay, and according to Fick, VO2max is affected by cardiac output and AVO2 difference. Okay, and increases in VO2max with training are due to increases in cardiac output and AVO2 difference. Cardiac output is affected by stroke volume and heart rate, but heart rate max does not increase with training. So all increases in cardiac output with training are due to increases in stroke volume max with training. We said that AVO2 difference is determined by oxygen delivery rate and oxygen uptake rate. And we've already talked about oxygen delivery rate. For this slide, for this recording, we're going to focus on the factors that affect oxygen uptake rate and therefore AVO2 difference max and therefore VO2 max with training. Alright, so now we're focusing on this, which we talked about in Chapter 7, and we said oxygen uptake rate is determined by oxygen unloading from hemoglobin and gas diffusion rate. Okay, so uptake rate is determined by unloading from hemoglobin and gas diffusion rate, and remember the V-gas equation says oxygen diffusion rate is due to diffusion area, diffusion coefficient, diffusion pressure gradient, and diffusion membrane thickness. A, D, pressure gradient, and thickness. Okay? And with training, we're not going to see a difference in the diffusion coefficient. What we're talking about, remember, is diffusion of oxygen. And the diffusion coefficient for oxygen is constant, so that's not going to change. The diffusion membrane thickness is not going to become any more optimal. It's as thin as it's going to get. Okay, the capillary wall is 1 cell thick. We can't get any thinner than that. So the diffusion membrane thickness is as thin as it's going to get. Therefore, increases in diffusion rate with training are due to increases in diffusion area and a greater diffusion gradient. Okay? On this recording, we're going to focus on this one. Okay? Alright, so again, and this is from Chapter 7, diffusion rate is affected by membrane area, coefficient, gradient, and thickness. We're focusing on diffusion area. Okay, and what diffusion area are we talking about? Okay, so you've got your capillaries that go through your muscle. Okay, and the diffusion area is essentially determined by how many capillaries you have. So every muscle fiber has multiple capillaries feeding that fiber. At rest, most of these capillaries are closed. Okay. Oh, there goes Dingo. Most of the capillaries are closed because the body's efficient. It's not going to send blood through capillaries and essentially recruit diffusion area that's not necessary. So most of the capillaries are closed, and when they're needed, they can open up. Okay, so we have the ability to recruit capillaries based on the needs of the cell that's being fed by those capillaries. Okay. And what we see happen with training is actually 2 different things that happen with capillaries. With training, we increase our ability to recruit our existing capillaries. Okay. So some of our capillaries are not recruited. before training. Okay, so we have the ability to increase area, but the body's not able to increase area if it cannot recruit those capillaries. And when I say recruit the capillaries, I mean the sphincters in these capillary walls have to relax to allow blood to fill them and feed blood to that muscle. So one of the training adaptations that we see is an increased ability to recruit our existing capillaries. In addition, what we see is the formation of more capillaries. Okay. And so by recruiting more and by having more, that means we have more diffusion area. Okay. And with more diffusion area, we are going to be able to diffuse gases faster. If we can diffuse gases faster, we can take more oxygen up, we can achieve a greater VO2 difference, and we can achieve a greater VO2max. Okay, so let's see what that would look like on your concept map. Again, at the bottom of your map, we have an increase in VO2max. Increase Qmax, increase AVO2 difference max, okay, and this has a couple legs. The delivery rate and the uptake rate, well, we're talking about oxygen uptake rate by muscle. And we're saying this increases if V gas increases. And V gas is A, D, P1, P2 over thickness. Okay? And what we see is, coming off the top of your map, is an increase in capillary density. That means the number of capillaries, and recruitment. Okay. And if we have more capillaries and we recruit more capillaries, we have more diffusion area, which is A. Okay, and that's where A comes in. So greater capillary density and recruitment is another one of the factors, one of the 11 that comes off the top. This is going to give us more area, which is going to cause the gases to diffuse faster through A, which means you're going to take up more, higher AVO2 difference, higher VO2 max. Okay? So we only have two more to talk about. Okay, we need to talk about this one, and we need to talk about this. So that will be on the next and final recording.